It all began one unusually chilly spring evening in the quiet suburbs of Charleston, South Carolina. I was stirring a pot of chicken soup when the door creaked open and my husband, Daniel, walked in, brushing the rain off his coat. His smile was weary, the kind that hinted at a long day filled with numbers and meetings. I greeted him with a soft kiss and handed him a towel. "You're soaked," I said, chuckling. "Was the forecast that wrong again?" He nodded and sighed. "Storm came out of nowhere. Oh, and by the way, Tyler's coming over tonight." I paused, spoon hovering mid-air. "Your brother? Why?" Daniel shrugged as he sat down, loosening his tie. "He said he needs to talk to us. Something important." Tyler had always been the wild one. Where Daniel was logical, grounded, and dependable, Tyler was spontaneous, driven by emotion and adventure. They had grown up together in New Jersey but had taken vastly different paths. While Daniel went to college and built a successful career in finance, Tyler dropped out after 2 semesters, chasing dreams of music, travel, and later, a tech startup in California. He hadn't been back to Charleston in over 2 years, and the last time we saw him was at our wedding. That night, I remember him standing in the corner of the reception hall, laughing with a glass of whiskey in his hand, charming everyone with his crooked smile and unpredictable stories. I liked Tyler, but I never quite understood him. And I certainly didn't expect him to knock on our door that night with a request that would change everything. By the time he arrived, the rain had intensified. Thunder rumbled in the distance as Tyler stepped into the living room, damp and slightly out of breath. He looked older somehow, with dark circles under his eyes and a beard that hadn't seen a trimmer in weeks. But his voice still had that boyish enthusiasm. "Hey, Danny. Ellie," he greeted, hugging both of us. We sat down in the living room, and I brought over mugs of hot cocoa. Tyler leaned forward, elbows on his knees, looking hesitant for the first time in a long while. "So," he began, "I know this is going to sound strange, but I need your help. Both of you." Daniel leaned back. "With what exactly?" Tyler rubbed his face, took a deep breath, and then said something that knocked the air out of me. "I need someone to adopt my daughter." The room went silent. I blinked, thinking I must have misheard. "Your daughter?" I repeated. He nodded, eyes cast downward. "Her name is Ava. She's 6. Her mom, Jen, passed away last month. It was sudden, an aneurysm. No warning. 1 minute she was fine, the next." His voice broke, and for a moment, the cocky, carefree Tyler was gone, replaced by a man drowning in grief. I covered my mouth, stunned. I didn't even know he had a child. Neither did Daniel. He exchanged a glance with me before turning back to his brother. "Why didn't you ever tell us about her?" Tyler exhaled, shaking his head. "Because I wasn't ready. I met Jen when I was living in Oregon. Things moved fast, and when she got pregnant, I panicked. I was barely holding down a job. I didn't want to drag anyone else into my chaos. But she kept the baby. And we tried to make it work. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. Ava, she's amazing. Bright, funny, kind. But I can't give her what she needs now." He looked up at us, his eyes pleading. "I'm drowning, guys. I've got debt, no steady job, no family nearby. I don't want to put her through foster care. I don't trust strangers. But I trust you." I sat back, the weight of his words sinking into me. A 6-year-old girl. Our niece. Alone in the world. And Tyler, for all his flaws, was doing the most selfless thing he could think of. He was asking us to become her parents. I glanced at Daniel, whose expression was unreadable. He stood and walked over to the window, staring out at the rain. After a long silence, he turned around. "Where is she now?" "She's with Jen's sister," Tyler replied. "But it's temporary. Her family's not in a position to raise her. They made it clear they won't fight if I find someone else." We spent the next hour asking questions, trying to piece together a puzzle we didn't even know existed. Tyler answered everything honestly, sometimes tearfully, but always with the love of a father who knew he'd failed in some ways, but still wanted to do right by his child. That night, after Tyler left, Daniel and I lay awake in bed, staring at the ceiling. The air was heavy with unspoken thoughts. Finally, Daniel whispered, "What do you think?" I turned toward him, unsure of how to even begin. "I think she's family. And I think she deserves a chance. But this would change everything." The following weekend, we met Ava. She had curly brown hair, wide green eyes, and a shy smile that melted my heart instantly. She clung to a stuffed bear and looked up at us with curiosity and caution. Daniel knelt down and offered her a juice box. "Hi, Ava. I'm your Uncle Daniel. And this is Aunt Ellie." She nodded slowly, then whispered, "Hi." As we spent the day with her, playing with toys, reading books, sharing ice cream, I saw something in Daniel that I hadn't seen before. A gentle patience, a quiet joy. And in Ava, I saw hope. At the end of the visit, as we walked to the car, Daniel turned to me and said, "Let's do it. Let's bring her home." The process wasn't easy. There were background checks, home visits, legal documents, and counseling sessions. But through it all, Tyler stayed committed. He met with a lawyer, relinquished custody, and helped us with every step. The hardest part was the day he said goodbye. We stood in the doorway as he hugged Ava tightly, whispering words into her ear. She clung to him, tears streaming down her face. When he finally let go, he looked at us and said, "Thank you. I'll always be in her life. But she's yours now. And I know you'll love her like I do." The first few months were an adjustment. Ava had nightmares. She missed her mother. She asked questions that were hard to answer. But slowly, she began to settle in. Her laughter returned. She started calling me Mommy Ellie, and Daniel, Daddy Dan. We painted her room pink, enrolled her in school, and celebrated her 7th birthday with cupcakes and balloons. Tyler visited often. He got a job back in Charleston and started therapy. He was rebuilding his life, piece by piece. And while he wasn't her parent anymore, he was still her hero. One night, as I tucked Ava into bed, she looked up at me and asked, "Did my daddy make a mistake giving me to you?" I felt a lump in my throat but smiled and brushed her curls back. "No, sweetheart. He made the bravest choice he could. Because he loves you so, so much. And we love you too." She smiled, hugged her bear, and closed her eyes. Looking back, I never imagined my life taking this turn. I never thought a knock on the door would lead to motherhood. But it did. And it's the most beautiful surprise I've ever known. Tyler's request was shocking, yes. But it brought us a gift we never expected. A little girl who changed everything and filled our hearts in ways we never thought possible.